Test, test, test. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Good morning, Mr. Hat. Doesn't Troy want to talk to us today?
I guess not.
Commissioner Hackman.
Hello. All right, yeah, let me know. Thank you.
Melissa, I got a new virtual background. Should I use this one for the whole meeting?
Hey, there you go.
I'm ready for everyone today.
That's awesome.
Even got the headset on.
That's perfect.
Hello.
Steve.
Hey Keith, how are you?
Good, and you?
I'm gonna do a meeting at 1 o'clock and then I'll be out. So if anybody can hear me, I'll be off video, but I'll be listening, even though I'm not on the committee.
Okay, Steve, got you.
Morning, everyone.
Morning, Bill.
Good morning, Mr. Jenks.
Hey.
Mr. Mole.
Hey, Bill, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How's everyone? Anthony, it's nice to see your smiling face.
Tony, you look like you're ready to fly an airplane.
Hold on, wait. I asked Melissa if I could use this today.
Oh,
I do not fly an airplane, but I do fly this. Hold on. How's that?
all right.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I like that.
Let's go, R2. I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh.
That's pretty cool.
Got to have some fun every once in a while.
Absolutely.
I would prefer this one. I think this is where we'd all prefer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. And we all ought to be there.
I'm all for that. If Wyomissing's willing to pay for our next meeting to be down on the beach.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure Steve Brunner will have no problem putting that in the budget.
Give the guy a stroke.
Oh. Lieutenant Endy, good morning.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
See everybody. Good.
Mr. Durr.
Bill?
Well, did you get one?
No, I missed one Wednesday night. Got too dark. Got too dark, and I was using a muzzle loader, and it was a little far. And I passed some up Thursday and Friday, and regretted it Saturday.
Oh, jeez.
I was out in our watershed the other morning, and I'm the chairman of the municipal authority down in Birdsboro, and I was out looking at some trails to open up some trails with I open up with the chainsaws, cut them open for all the riders out there, and I came across a huge buck. I'm like, oh,
Wow.
And no gun in your hand.
oh, I had one on my side.
Okay, I got 12:01, so I'll call the meeting of the Fire and Police Committee to order. And Melissa, would you take a roll call, please?
Bill Jenks,
Here.
Tom Mull,
Here.
Tom Boucher will be absent today. Fred Levering,
Here.
John Woodward,
Here.
Keith Durr.
Here.
Okay, great. Are there any public comments?
Not for me.
Okay. Public comments going once, going twice. Okay. Move on to the fire department. Colin.
For the month of October to date, there's been 113 responses consisting of 12 fires, 41 medical or motor vehicle accidents, 13 hazardous conditions, 41 alarm activations, 2 fire police details, and 4 smoke detector installations. Total responses in the borough 76, outside of the borough 37. No fire damage thus far for October. Average turnout for the month so far was 4.8 personnel. We had 1 volunteer response, and total responses to date, 1,243. For the in-depth August report, actually an in-depth September report, that was, we had a total of 218 responses system-wide. That consisted of 88 medical or motor vehicle accidents and 130 fire-related incidents. We had a fire loss of $75,000. That was in the borough on Hawthorne Road. Saved property value of $1,552,652. We gave aid 36 times. We received aid 62 times. We had 66 overlapping calls. Our average dispatch to en route time was 1 minute 56 seconds. Dispatch to on scene, 6 minutes 55 seconds. We gave aid to Alsace Township 1 time, Western Berks Fire Department 14 times, Exeter Township once, Mount Pleasant once, Greenfieldsburn Township 3, Hamburg once, West Reading once, Muhlenberg Township 6, Shillington once, Brecknock once, Cumru 5, and the City of Reading once. That's all I have for my reports. If there's any questions on those.
Yeah, Colin, and I think I have the answer correct. I've had some people, asking about the smoke detectors and so forth. Is any resident in the borough eligible for these? They just need to call your office?
Yes, they would call the station. That's why it kind of spiked up, because we had some, it was in the newsletter, must have came out in both municipalities. But anybody is eligible for them. It's a service that works solely off of donations. It doesn't come out of anybody's budget. The only thing, if it's a hardwired detector, we won't do them because that would require wiring and stuff like that. The
Right.
detectors that we offer are battery powered smoke detectors and battery powered carbon monoxide detectors. But we would come out to the residents if they need them, change batteries if they need them, put new detectors up if they need them, and make sure that everything works.
Okay, some people had asked me, you know, if they had to be in a, you know, certain economic status for this, or if it was open to everybody. And I thought it
No,
was,
we don't, no, we don't make any discriminations. You know, we'll do out whatever, if somebody needs them, we'll go out and put them in for them.
okay. Wonderful.
I
Thank
have-
you.
Quick question, are these just regular standalone smoke detectors?
Right, they're, those smoke detectors that we use are the 10-year lithium ion batteries, because we find if we would put regular batteries in, a lot of times
Oh,
in
yeah.
some areas, they would come out and go into kids' games. So the smoke detectors are up and done for 10 years. Once we activate that battery, it's good for 10 years. You don't have to do anything with it. The carbon monoxide detectors, they haven't come up to that state yet, so they require AA batteries, the one that we're using. And then obviously every 6 months, you should change the batteries at a minimum. A year would be the maximum that you will push it for.
Right. So they do not tie into existing alarm systems. So they're not compatible like with Honeywell, all that.
Correct. Yeah, we wouldn't, if you have a central, if you have a central station alarm in your house, we would not get involved with that. They would not connect. They would just be a standalone detector. And in the newer houses that have hardwired detectors in, obviously they go bad after 10 years as well too, but that would require electrical wiring, and we're not getting involved in that because we're not electricians.
Clear. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Not a problem.
Okay,
So-
anybody?
Colin, John here. How's the spring collaboration with the Borough of West Reading for you guys doing inspections for them?
Good. One of our part-time inspectors resigned, so we're working off of one right now, but with COVID and everything, things kind of pretty much a lot of places we couldn't get into. But we have West Reading, I believe we're 85 to 90% completed for all the commercial properties, which I think was only like in the 300 range, between the 300 and 400 range. So, you know, we're plugging away with inspections in all three of the municipalities.
And that includes rental units?
No, that's only commercial properties at this point. We don't do anything with rental properties like residential rental properties or anything like that. We would only be allowed to technically inspect if it would be an apartment building, would be common areas. That would fall under West Reading Borough like it would in Wyomissing Borough with third-party code inspector.
Well, somebody's coming from, I presume, Spring. I don't have the letter in front of me, to my wife's house on Reading Avenue on Wednesday. And it's just a house. And
I don't know if Troy's on. He was supposed to be on for the other thing. He's going to try and get on. He might be able to answer that, but they may have asked the fire marshal to go with, but no, we, like Michelle asked sometimes for the fire marshal to go with for some rental inspections, but no, that would not be the fire department. We do not do in Spring Township, and as far as I know in West Reading, I know Spring Township doesn't do rental inspections. We were trying to get that up and running with the codes department. West Reading does, and if West Reading, I mean, what Wyomissing does, if West Reading does, that would be through their third-party code inspection or somebody at West Reading Borough, not the fire department. Not as a primary, anyway.
right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, anybody else have any questions for Colin? Okay, thank you, sir.
I have two other things, just one's informational and one's looking for approval. Information-wise, I believe I reported on it last month. We were awarded the a FEMA grant for 2019. It was a regional grant between Spring and Wyomissing. We obtained $46,903.64. Out of that, allocated to Wyomissing Borough is $28,192.73. That's for a gear extractor washing machine with installation. I'm going to make sure I get this right. 2 thermal imaging cameras and 2 positive pressure ventilation fans. So I am looking for authorization because we got to kind of make the purchase and get the ball rolling before FEMA will release those fundings. So I got a quote from, and I can get together with Pat so he can actually see the original quote and he can actually sign it, from CSC Service Works. It's for a Unimax 30-pound washer extractor along with the mounting plate, because we need a special mounting plate, and that would be delivery and installation for $9,000. And we were, for that, we were awarded more than that. We got $8,579 for the washer, $425 for the mounting platform, and $960 for the installation. So we're a little bit under what FEMA has awarded us for the grant. But that's going to keep us in compliance with NFPA 1851 with keeping our turnout gear cleaned after calls and everything to eliminate the carcinogens and stuff like that. Currently, right now, the guys are bringing it up to a spring station where we have a gear extractor. So we have to transport it up here and get it washed and everything and dried before we can get it back down to those guys at Wyomissing.
Okay, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So be it.
Now, I'll get with Pat to get this signed and everything, and then he'll have an actual original copy of what the invoice is. And then just
Okay.
one other informational thing, we will be applying, hopefully in November, December, the 2020 FEMA grant will be opening. We'll be applying for that. And I did apply for a grant through PA American Water, and I was just notified that we received $1,000 out of that grant through PA American Water for Wyomissing Fire Department. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we'll see a check for that as well too.
Great. Okay, one question, going back to the turnout gear. Do our guys have a second set of gear?
Yes, yep. Currently, everybody has 2 sets of gear, including the volunteers.
Okay, good, good. Okay, anything else, Colin?
Nope, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Western Berks Ambulance, Tony.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the monthly report for us, we responded to 243 calls for service in Wyomissing, 2,069 year to date. Of the 243, 186 were transported, 19 refused. There were 4 standbys, Wyomissing football, 28 canceled, 6 assists. Of the breakdown of that, 88 were ALS, 118 BLS, 31 downgrades. There were 24 calls to the Highlands and 17 calls to Country Meadows. Most of the patients were transported to Reading as normal, with 19 going to St. Joe's. There were no Narcan treatments for the month of September. And our dispatched responding again is 1 minute, 9 seconds with our average scene time of 13 minutes and 4 seconds. A couple things to bring up to the committee. Number one, COVID is starting to rear its ugly head. Yes, we are testing more, but the hospitalizations are starting to increase. Now, the hospitalizations are increasing, but we're not seeing the intensity of what we were seeing before of vent patients and all that. Now we are seeing that, but not as much as we did in the first pre-stage of it, which is better news. So people are getting it like the flu and getting over it. So that's better news than this. Again, remember to social distance, wear your mask, protect yourself if possible. But again, it is starting to rear its ugly head, whether that's tied to the flu season or not. Secondly, a couple things that we've noticed is it's just people are starting to again start call 911. Things with the COVID expense, we've had a reduced call volume during that time, but we've had increased expenses. Year to date right now, we're at $180,000 in increased expenses for PPE and COVID related expenses, which we're hoping to get resupplied from FEMA or wherever we can. And another $60,000 in payroll expenses due to COVID call-offs or people calling off. So just to bring you up to speed on that. Other than that, everything else is looking good. I always bring it up in September's meeting. Again, if we would appreciate if you would consider bringing to finance or the annual membership program. Again, that would be $30 a household and placing that in the budget. But that's all I have for there.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Tony? Sorry, Tom Boucher's not with us today, Tony, so he can't harass you.
I thought that was a perfect opportunity to bring that up when he wasn't there to harass me on it. And, You know, I again, as you see, it's a big proponent of it. I mean, they're the membership program where it keeps the out-of-pocket expenses with deductibles going the way they are. And I know Mr. Bruner, working in the insurance business, knows more people are getting higher deductibles, and it saves that out-of-pocket expense. We're up to 6 municipalities doing it. It allows the service, you know, first and foremost, it saves a lot of people a lot of money. And it helps us too in the second run. It was about $137,000, if I remember correct, Pat. Close to 137, 140 per year for that.
Yeah, in that neighborhood.
Yeah. You know, when we did the breakdown again, we're not asking for exponential. I know that there are budgets that increase a lot more, and with our PowerPoint the last time, right now we're just asking for that assistance.
Okay, well, thank you. And, you know, thank you for all your services and keep up the great work you and your staff do. Okay, moving on to the police department, Lieutenant Endy.
Good afternoon. There's a couple things under the police department. First and foremost, Fitzy runs occurred yesterday. So you'll see that those signs are still up that were approved by Fire and Policing Council. So they'll be up through Sunday, the 1st of November. In no particular order, the Vanscoy Jewelers at 1121 Penn Avenue has requested a timed parking space. This came to me through economic development. They're looking for a space right out in front of their store for a timed parking. There is a timed parking down a little bit lower in front of 1111 Penn Avenue, which is a standalone building right at the corner of Trent. But this would be in a combination with that timed parking there.
What's the time? What's the limit on that?
Well, the other one's 2 hours. So it'd be extending the 2 hour basically up about another, with the driveways there, probably only getting about one more space there, but closer to the entrance at 1121 Penn Avenue, which is Vanscoy Jewelers, which just celebrated their grand opening last week.
Anybody have any thoughts, comments?
How many parking places do they have on their parking lot, Tom?
I counted 4 that they just repainted, so I'm assuming that goes with 1121. It's a shared lot there between 1111 and 1121. Since they only painted the 4, I kind of assumed that that's probably their 4. Their employees park. I'm sorry.
Do they have parking lot in the rear too?
Yeah, their employee. I double checked that their employees park in the rear lower lot off the alley and called Court Lane, which they do. So this is for like right out in front of their front door.
Okay.
We've historically looked at time parking leniently, except for in the areas down around the high school and the residential area. You know, I mean, there's Penn Avenue limited parking. There's limited parking on Reading Avenue, which we've kind of taken a somewhat of a hands-off approach because we've been able to get pretty good compliance. We don't have people parking there for long extended periods of time. I wouldn't expect it to be any different at this one extra spot.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw this that, you know, every time I've driven by, I've, you know, always seen, you know, at least a couple of parking spaces available on Penn Avenue.
Right.
Is it, you know, what's your recommendation? Should we just police it and see where we go?
Well, policing where this is proposed, there is nothing there, so that really wouldn't be anything to police there in front. I've taken notice there is ample parking on their parking lot that I'm seeing during the day. We could take a wait and see attitude and take a look at it, you know, in another month or another 60 days and see. I know that there were some issues there were some employees from other businesses parking in that area, as was conveyed to me. So you're always going to have that to some extent. Employees have to park somewhere. So we're going to be taking another spot off of there, which, as it was noted, is about 3 spaces on the lot for that business right now. Now, there's also some other as Michelle told me, some unfinished building or unfinished outfitting in that building. So I guess potentially could be some other employee parking needs for 1121 in the Vanscoy building as well. But as of now, that's not been outfitted yet.
I think I suggest we take a hide and watch attitude on that. I'm just afraid if you start to do that, the 1100 block's got a lot of carriage trade businesses with the dentists and attorneys and I guess the hairdresser. And if we start to ask time parking, we're going to have everybody asking for it.
I agree.
So let's just see how it goes and with Vanscoy and just keep an eye on it for the time being.
Who got the initial request from Vanscoy? Michelle?
Michelle did.
Okay. Why don't we have, why don't we have Pat contact either, well, Michelle can also, and just say that we're going to keep an eye on it, table it, and, if we need to bring it up again in the future, we will.
Okay.
Michelle, when they asked for the original request, was there something specific? Was there like cars there all the time, or did they mention why they thought they needed it in addition to their regular parking lot?
Because there was an issue with employees of another business parking on the lot, and when the owner of Vanscoy informed that business owner that their employees did not have permission to park on the lot, they were then parking on the street directly in front of her business for 8+ hours a day. I apologize if there's noise in the background on my end. Like Tom mentioned, when I spoke with the owner of Vanscoy, it's not as much her concern now. She does have ample parking for her business, but she is in the process of fitting out the additional office space that's in that building. So knowing that's going to be filled eventually, and not just potentially employees, but clients coming to that business would also need parking. That's why she was requesting the time limit. So more on-street parking would be available in terms of someone can park in front of her business for 8 hours and just leave their car there. They would be limited to 2 hours.
When's this remodeling going to be completed?
I would assume sometime in the next 2 to 4 months. The construction industry is a little finicky right now with supplies being available. So any construction timeline is subject to change constantly.
Sure. Why don't we, they're new business to the borough, and definitely we want to, support them and help them any way we can. But, I think we should just, keep an eye on it, take a wait and see approach, and we can always bring it up again in the future.
I can relay that to the owner, and I think she'll understand that.
Okay, terrific. Why don't we do that then?
Thanks.
Anybody else have any comments on that?
Bill, do you want to run that by economic development, or we're going to let fire and police handle it? We could make a recommendation to you, or we could just get out of the way and let you do it.
We can, since this originally came to economic development, we can, let everyone know that that's our, that's the standing of this committee at this time. And that we'll revisit it if necessary.
Okay.
Any other questions on that?
Just wanted to say, I don't know if anybody said, but I was Googling now. They have 10 parking spaces behind their building. They have plenty of parking for their own employees, just so you know.
Correct. The parking's not for their employees, Adrian. It's for clients of Vanscoy and future clients of the business that would open in the office space that's being fitted out now.
Yeah. On the other hand, I think it's fair. I mean, the cars should not stay there for 8 hours. That's a little bit excessive. Anyway, sorry, I was just looking.
Okay. Next item, Tom.
Flowers Lane, the caution child at play, I guess it originally went to infrastructure. I took a look at it. I set up the speed sign down there to see what kind of speeds we were looking at. The complaint was for children at play, or some kind of warning sign there in the 1700 block of Delaware Avenue as you enter the block from the 200 block of Lowers Lane. I looked at the speeds based on the speeds in the residential area. Since it's not posted, it's 35. The speeds aren't there. The the real concern, I think, was probably more as they come around that corner, which can be sort of a blind corner a little bit, and the people are parking down at the lower end and have issues or trouble or concern with their car doors or mirrors getting hit as they're coming around through there. We've gotten a request for a caution children at play sign to be put on that block. I don't think that the sign's necessarily a bad idea. I'm not sure it's probably the most appropriate sign, but I have not seen any children out in the street playing there like they shouldn't be. But I think they just want to, as people cross the street because they're parking on both sides or what have you. So I would let that out for comment.
Is this request in conjunction with the, what did we get the other month? Posting a reduced speed limit sign or something in that area? Didn't we get something last month?
Yeah, the situation on Cleveland Avenue.
Oh, okay.
That was resolved.
Okay. Comments on the children at play sign?
A lot of traffic comes through out of West Wyomissing through there in the morning, afternoon.
Yeah.
And
it's basically the same thing we're seeing that was going on Cleveland, Tom, is we see now they're just moved and make a left-hand turn and use Delaware.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it would hurt. For all the good it's going to do, maybe it makes the people feel a little bit better about it.
I agree, and that is there's that blind corner to it, so.
Yeah, they really do step it up in there. Everybody's late for work.
Okay, entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ordered.
Thank you.
Next.
In addition to that, the police department has kept and has moved our sign around there that was flashing caution, speed limit, children at play type stuff too. So we've tried to address that ourselves as well without a permanent sign. But I think sometimes that flashing light gets more people's attention than a full yellow triangle might get there. After a while, people get used to that. So we'll keep that sign moving through there.
Okay, great. Good idea.
Lynn Avenue, the one way. I saw this come on an email last week. I'm not sure exactly what it is. The email I saw said about they're not abiding by the one way and believe maybe adding other signage. There are two no do not enter signs on Belmont heading into the 0-100 block of Lynn Avenue. I do some volunteer yard work in that area and have been doing it during this COVID season. I haven't seen any cars going in the wrong direction on that street. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I mean, I've not seen that. We've got no other complaints to the police department. So I'm not sure putting a third sign there will do anything different than the two that already exist there. There are also, I did double check to make sure the signs are still up. When you're on Cherry Lane or Church Lane, when you're coming out of the alleys onto the 0-100 block of Lynn Avenue, both of them have the appropriate no left or no right turn signs there. So it is signed. You're always going to get people that miss it or not from the area, but well, if somebody has some specifics on that or a specific time or a specific vehicle or something, I'm not sure. It's not just a sometimes random occurrences there.
That's what it sounds like. Anybody have any thoughts, comments?
I don't think we need to do anything.
I agree. Okay. If as long as you feel that the signage is proper, then we'll just continue as we have been in that area.
It's been proper, and it's the way it's been posted is for as long as that's probably been one way. So I think at this point it might be just, certainly if somebody comes back to us and we get a certain time that maybe it's occurring or a certain vehicle that's not doing it, we'll certainly look out for that, but I don't think it's a daily occurrence there. The next thing, it was in that same email, no parking signs in the grassy side beside the parking lot at the YR Bridge, it says. I'm assuming the YR Club. I'm not sure exactly what that is, so if somebody could help me out on that. I went down and looked. I mean, there's no parking on the west side of Thrush against the property owner there. That's been that way from Parkside Drive south, Old Wyomissing Road. If that's what we're referencing, or I didn't, at first I read it that way, and then secondly, I thought maybe if people were seeing YR Club customers or employees parking over on the borough parking lot for the, what would be the Stonehouse area, but I'm not sure. So if somebody has some clarification, I'll be happy to look into that further.
Do we know?
Mr. Jenks,
Yeah,
I can
Pat.
give you that. And during one of the infrastructure committee meetings, we got a comment from a resident indicating that during heavy peak hours, the parking lot by the Wyomissing Foundation along Old Mill Road, people will park on the side of the road when that parking lot is full and park in the grass. What we've tried to do and what we will be doing is basically placing some temporary signage there, no parking on the grass. I think to go through there and try to make no parking zones and plant permanent signs all the way up through there would not be a good use of funds. It's only during certain times, especially it's been during the summer months. But that's what they're talking about. Cars are actually parking on the grass along Old Mill, opposite of the pool side of the street.
So this isn't the YR Bridge at all, but
Right.
No.
Okay. That makes more sense. That was going on when we had some of the summer heat and people more activity in the parklands. I think it's somewhat subsided, but okay.
Okay, so we'll just strike that then. Okay, anything else, Tom? I see Scout Pack
Yeah.
413.
That I'm not familiar with that. I would add just one other thing.
Oh.
I'm waiting for. I got a request for a handicap parking sign in a 500 block of Oley Street down towards Park Road end of the street. I actually thought I'd have all the paperwork here with me for recommendation today. It has not been brought to me yet. However, I did look because the block already has one up in the upper end at 6th Street. However, I've confirmed with that person that they've moved out of the area, so it's something we could just move that sign down a block once we get the proper paperwork and application. But just kind of a point of information here that's on the table. I like I said, I provided all the information in the application to her, and I thought I'd have it back today, but just so you have it for information for the future.
Okay, so you don't want to take any action today on that?
No, because at this point, I'm not sure. I talked to her at the beginning of this month, so I thought this would all be in my hands by now. So maybe something has changed.
Okay. Pat, can you get Jim to remove that other sign? Since
Remove what? I'm sorry.
Do you know the actual address, Tom, of where the people moved out?
Yeah, I'll get a hold of Pat offline. I was actually just gonna wait and have the borough crew move it from one spot to the other rather. But yeah, I'll talk with Pat offline. We'll get that moved.
Okay.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Bill, I have the information on Happy Hollow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Can you guys hear me? This is Troy. Can you hear me?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes, Troy.
Okay, if you have any questions, I am here. I'm just having technical difficulty here at the township building, so I am on the phone. So let me know if you need anything with Happy Hollow.
Okay.
We received a request through the fire marshal's office that the Scout Pack 413 wants to have its annual rocket launches. Apparently this has been occurring at Happy Hollow. It's also occurred in the parklands out across from the Parks Barn on several occasions. They've offered, this is on November 29th, 2020, running from 12 noon till 6 o'clock at night. I'll be honest with you, we have not been using and are not allowing stagnant park operations to occur. In other words, Fitzy's Run ran through the park. These displays and operations at the Stonehouse were not held. I'm concerned about, these times with the surge and so forth, about having the stagnant operation occurring in the park system with folks. So Troy can answer most of the other safety issues, but I just want to bring that to the group's attention. It would be my request that we probably not allow that to occur at Hoppy Hollow at this time.
Haven't we already turned down some other requests because of COVID at Happy Hollow?
That's correct. None of the pavilions or Stonehouse or any properties in the park system are being rented at this time.
Yeah, I don't think we can waver from that. Comments, thoughts?
You have to be consistent. We're not letting anybody do it. We can't let that happen either.
I agree. Unfortunately, I think we got to, turn this offer down for this year, just to be consistent with all the other requests that we've had to, unfortunately, turn down.
That is understandable. That is why I'm glad it came to your group to be talked about and to see your input. I agree with what you have decided, and I will make sure that I relay that to Mr. Bowden, which is the, I believe, the group leader. And I will tell him that, see how things look for next year. They should reapply for next year, if that's okay with you, and then we'll look at things, see how it is next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Just make sure he knows that, we've turned down other requests, but because of COVID, we can't have any public activities going on the playgrounds.
Understood.
Okay. Thank you, Troy. Okay, boy, moving right along here. That's all on the agenda. Anybody else have anything they want to bring before the committee? If not, I guess we stand adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
You, Bill.